Nobody better to talk to this morning than Adam Schefter about what's going on with the green and gold. Good morning, Adam. What do you got there? A Pacers shirt? Pulling for the Pacers now?
Yeah, I used to have a friend that worked there. He sent me the shirt, and so we have the shirt.
We appreciate the Midwest love.
Well, no, I mean, no, bleep the Pacers, man. Like, we got to get Adam a Bucks shirt.
That should be something.
I don't have a Bucks shirt.
All right,
you know who we got to call? Zach Eisendrath has got to send me. Am I saying Zach's last? Zach Eisendrath.
Yeah, how about right? Zach getting a shout out on Gabe and Chewy this morning? He's going to be absolutely thrilled about that. Yes,
I'm sure. Got to be some Bucks paraphernalia.
I know. I
don't have to go to Jimmy and D. Haslam for that. Like I shouldn't have to bother them for that.
Feels like you know plenty of people, though, Adam. The name dropping that is happening this morning on Gabe and Chewy.
I'm going to look into it. I'm going to make sure you get some Bucks gear because they're starting to play some pretty good basketball here, Adam, and I think they're going to be making a pretty good push over the next 6 weeks.
From your mouth.
The Bucks.
I thought Adam was going to say something about the Bucks. Sorry about that, Adam. You and I seem to be jumping on top of each other right now. It's okay. Let's talk about Davante Adams because obviously there is a lot of interest from Packers fans to have Davante Adams reunite with the Green Bay Packers. Are you hearing anything? Are the Packers interested in bringing him back, or should we just kind of move on?
Well, I think there'd be some interest. I don't know that it's option one for him or them. I think it's something that absolutely is out there. Again, it sounds like he'd like to go back to the West Coast. I think Green Bay does make some sense, and Green Bay certainly could use another wide receiver. I'm sure they're looking at what they could do here during free agency. Do you see the list of free agent wide receivers in this class?
We certainly have seen it, Adam. We certainly have. We looked at it, and then we looked away.
Hold on. We got Davante Adams, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Marquise Brown, Darius Slayton, DeAndre Hopkins, Elijah Moore, Deontay Johnson, De'Ami Brown, Juju, Josh Palmer, Mike Williams, Nick Westbrook-Akine, Van Jefferson, Robert Woods, DeMarcus Robinson, Tyler Boyd, Tutu Atwell, Noah Brown. I mean, it's a pretty deep list.
But it's not a very good list.
Right, and a lot of those guys are coming off of injury as well.
You have that's what it is. There are some injury guys. There are some guys that are younger, some guys that are older, but it's supply and demand.
Yeah, I mean, it's not nobody there other than Davante, I think, can step into a team and be wide receiver one. Do you?
I think he can be. I think he still can be a wide receiver one. He's not the same guy. It's not like we're talking about the prime Davante Adams that we saw tearing it up. He's not that, but he's still a great receiver.
Oh, he's still really good. I think he's the best of the bunch.
No. I think Gabe is saying he thinks he's the only one who could step in and be a wide receiver one. When you look at the rest of that list, they all sort of feel like wide receiver twos or further down on the list. And Green Bay is in desperate need of somebody to come in and be the guy.
Chris Godwin could be, but he's coming off a big knee.
Yeah. That's just a huge question mark because it seemed like a pretty devastating injury.
It's that's not an easy one to overcome, and again, there's a reason that this list is getting to free agency. The league has done a better job of identifying good young players that they want to re-sign and retain. Did you notice this year there were only 2 players who were tagged? 2. Okay, T. Higgins would have been one. And he would have been a number 1 wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got the rest of the list, and it's a great list. There's a lot of great players, but there are lists with questions on there too.
What's the timeline now, do you think, for Davante? Because he can sign anywhere, so he's got that advantage over everybody else you listed. They can't start talking to teams other than their own until Monday. He can start talking with anybody now. Does he last until free agency starts, or do you think he signs with someone before that?
I don't know the answer to that. I guess my advice to Davante would be get that deal done today if you can. Honestly, like the sooner you get it done, the better you are. Better off you're going to be. The price on Davante Adams isn't going to rise on Monday and Tuesday. The price to me on these things drops the further you get into free agency, and the best prices for players usually come Saturday, Sunday, Monday into Tuesday. If you have to wait until Wednesday or Thursday, by then your price usually is not in a better spot than it was at the beginning of the week.
Adam Schefter hanging out with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy as he does each and every Wednesday. So the other thing that we're wondering if it will affect where Davante Adams goes is Aaron Rodgers. And the sweepstakes seems to be getting smaller and smaller. We're hearing the Giants. We're hearing the Titans. We're hearing maybe he takes a year off. We're hearing maybe he comes in relief of an injured quarterback mid-season. What do you think is most likely to happen? As Joshy said earlier, this feels like the quintessential, the league sort of retiring a future Hall of Famer. I said, life comes at you fast, even if you're Aaron Rodgers, Shefty.
Listen, the quarterback carousel is still winding around, and we're going to see how it shakes out in the next week. But I can say that as we look at it right now, there are not an abundance of landing spots for Aaron Rodgers. We could look at the Giants potentially as one. I don't see Aaron Rodgers going to Tennessee, Cleveland, Indy. I don't see him doing that. I think he's going to a certain kind of team in a certain kind of market. The best spot for Aaron Rodgers was the Los Angeles Rams, and that dried up because if Matthew Stafford had been traded to the Giants or the Raiders, which had been discussed, that would have been a home run for Aaron Rodgers. Has a house in Malibu. I think he has enormous respect for Sean McVay. The roster is ready to win. He could have stepped in there. They could have gotten a deal done, and that would have been the home run play. The home run play wound up striking out. And so now you look at it, and the way I see it, the Giants are a potential option. I heard Max Crosby lobbying for Aaron Rodgers to come to Las Vegas. I haven't heard a lot of chatter. It always could happen. I always like to say, as Sean McVay said, there are no absolutes at this time of the year. But I haven't heard a lot of Vegas chatter. We'll see if that changes. Where are the other potential landing spots for Aaron Rodgers? Pittsburgh, maybe. I think they're gonna re-sign either Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. So I think we may be in a position here where Aaron Rodgers' best option is to wait and to see what happens and to see a situation that we don't see coming. I don't know what that is right now, but quarterback X on this team decides he wants a new contract. The team trades him. Quarterback X is injured. Team suffers quarterback loss with some off-field issue. Like, there are things that happen semi-regularly. And so either the Giants come through in my mind, maybe a Pittsburgh or a Raiders materializes. That's possible. I don't see that today, but it could happen. And short of that, his best option may be to just wait. Wait to see what happens. Wait until the board resets a little bit and see what else comes up.
Adam, maybe you can help me. I don't understand why the Giants were, interested in Matthew Stafford in the first place, and now they're interested in Aaron Rodgers. I just assumed once they decided that they were going to move on from Daniel Jones, they were going to hit the reset button, try to get a young quarterback, and start trying to figure out if that young quarterback can be the guy they can build around. These guys seem like stopgap options for a team that's not really that close to winning.
Well, I can make this very simple for you.
All right.
First of all, you got a coach and a GM that's fighting to keep their jobs. You have the number 3 pick. You have 2 quarterbacks that are regarded as the top 2 quarterbacks in this draft. What if you can't trade up, and what if quarterbacks go 1 and 2? Who's your quarterback? Beyond that, what if you do get one of those rookie quarterbacks and he's not ready? Who's your quarterback? You need a quarterback. The only quarterback they currently have under contract is Tommy DeVito. So what are you doing? You need a quarterback. Matthew Stafford is still playing at a Pro Bowl level. If you have the opportunity to get Matthew Stafford, you jump at that. In fact, I would say the Giants should have been more aggressive and made a bolder play and offered more draft pick compensation than they did to get him. The Other options at this point, Aaron Rodgers, the price might be right. Look, Aaron Rodgers is probably not the first choice. Matthew Stafford would have been ideal. Trading up in the draft would be ideal, but you didn't get Stafford. You might not be able to trade up. What are you going to do? You can't just say, well, we missed out on all these other things. Time for Tommy Cutlets. Like, that's not happening. So what do you want to do, Gabe?
I mean, but I'm just curious as to, I guess I understand why Rodgers would go there if he's got no other options. But having
do you understand now why they went at Stafford? Like, he's still a top quarterback.
Oh yeah, like I understand going after Stafford but also I think Stafford probably has a couple of seasons left, maybe 3, maybe 4. Seems like Aaron Rodgers wants to play one more season to try to prove that he could still do it and then maybe walk away.
Okay, fine. Again, let's say you don't like Aaron Rodgers. Who do you want the Giants to go get right now?
Why not go get Sam Darnold? Vikings didn't franchise tag him.
By the way, that's an option. I'm sure they're going to look at that. That is an option. But by the way, what's it going to take to sign Sam Darnold? Is he going to leave Minnesota? Is he going to have other options? Are you absolutely going to get him? I don't know. They don't know. They might.
My God, the ego blow that Aaron Rodgers would take if the Giants decided to go with Sam Darnold instead of him would be incredible, outrageous, enormous. Like I can't stress it enough how difficult that would be for Aaron Rodgers to swallow. I think.
I can't think of a time when a quarterback at his level, a first ballot Hall of Famer, is going to be retired by the league. Like, most guys at that level are the ones who eventually make the decision to walk away. That's what happened with Brett. Like, he got beat up in his last season in Minnesota. He's like, I can't take it anymore. I'm walking away. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, like all these guys that are on his level ultimately walked away on their own accord, and he might be the one that gets retired by the league.
Again, it would be naive of us to sit here and act like some of his personality isn't playing a role in that. I know that we minimize it at times and say, if you can win, you can win, and people don't care. They'll deal with a lot. I believe that the league is looking around going, it feels dangerous. It feels like, again, just my opinion. And also, him being 40 years old. Like, that's the other thing to it. I don't want to spend all of our time on that, Adam. I do also want to talk about Saquon Barkley, who got that outrageous, extraordinary deal. Not outrageous in a bad way, but, like, good for him from the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, the hits just keep on coming for the New York Giants here. Were you surprised when you saw that news, when you received that news and announced that news yesterday, that the Eagles locked him up like that?
I think you've got a situation there where Saquon Barkley was going to get a new contract this offseason. And obviously you work off the Christian McCaffrey deal that got done last offseason. And if my memory serves me correct, that deal got done sometime in the spring, like later on, way after free agency. So the only surprise to me was that this came yesterday, a week ahead of free agency. But I think it was typical Eagles getting out in front and sending a message. They knew they were going to do it. And it sets a tone for the offseason. We take care of the players we want to take care of. We do the right thing. We send a message. And by the way, it stands in stark contrast to the way the Giants handled Saquon Barkley. A year ago, we're going back and forth about whether the Giants are going to tag him, whether they're going to re-sign him, whether they're going to lose him. And here we are a year later, less than a year later, or basically the same week, where the Eagles go and make Saquon Barkley the first $20+ million a year running back. So they boost up their own franchise. They shine a spotlight on how valuable Saquon's been, and they decided to move ahead to see how this is going to work out. Like, Saquon was a home run signing last year. You want every signing to be like that, and they've elevated his salary and put him in a stratosphere that no running back has been in before.